couple tough shows here on After the Whistle. We've been well, I mean, I was extremely critical the other day, Craig.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody back in. Episode 34. I almost forgot.
Yeah, we're moving and grooving with these episodes.
Just crushing it.
Yep.
Just crushing it.
Enjoying it too. Enjoying it.
Getting great feedback. Obviously, we have a big Sabre following from our years, obviously playing here, but then not only that, doing the live shows here. So, I mean, a lot of people tune into what we have to say. And a lot of people.
Can I add something before you go there?
Yeah, a lot of people listened to our last episode that was very critical. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I do want to say is this: there's a lot of people that are tweeting our account, and know this, that we're reading all of them. And I'm going to tell you what I like about this is there's a lot of people that are really liking what we're talking about and the directions that we go and the honesty that we put into what we talk about. But there's also people that are giving us constructive criticism. And I don't take it as people are hating on us and this and that. They're giving us their thoughts and their opinions. And
well, you have your assholes that are just assholes, and they're going to always be that way. But then you have people that are critical toward our thoughts, but they're respectful at least. There's a difference. And I'm always open, like you said, to the constructive criticism or I guess, difference of opinion.
Yeah.
With, as they say in Slapshot, within the boundaries of good taste, right? So yeah, but keep going.
Yeah, you know what? I just want to let them know that we are reading all of your stuff. We may not be getting back to every single person. There's a lot of people. There's actually a lot of feedback that people give us with the episodes, and it just goes to show that people are entertained and they're enjoying and they want more. And just know that when you do write something in, we are reading every single one of them. And
we talk about a lot of them,
and we're going to try and make this better.
And we talk about a lot of them even off the air, right? I mean, that's one of the things we do is we talk about. Yeah, did you see what this person said or that person said? And no, it is, and it's and the one thing I'll say, and again, like it always sounds like we're kissing. Turn your gain up just a little bit though, there, big boy. There's one thing that I will say, and I'll just get to this here quickly before we get into last night's game against Nashville. This will definitely be probably a more positive view on the team. But I didn't. Someone tweeted something at me today, or maybe it was earlier this morning. I hate to do this and drag and delay, but. Tell me when you want me to just move on.
You're killing it here.
No,
you're killing the vibe right now. I don't know where you're going with this.
Here it is. Steven tweeted this morning. I had to go through, buddy. That just goes to show you how many mentions I'm getting. It's not even about the fact that he says, he starts off his tweet and says, "I love Andrew Peters." And I really appreciate that. And he says, and how he covers the Sabres. You can tell he genuinely cares, but also holds people accountable. That was based probably off of my tweet last night about Aaron Dell starting and just how I hope that he has a great game because, we all deserve to be put in our place and be shut up from time to time when we're too harsh when it comes to criticism. But to me, it's not necessarily. It's more about the fans for me. I understand these fans, and I know you do too, but I'm speaking for me here. I understand this fan base. I love this fan base. And I'm not kissing ass here. I'm just being honest. This is the fan base that accepted me, took me in after Rob Ray left, and you have to come in and fill those shoes. And, it's like, and we were a great team here. We were a great team here for a few years. And, I just sit and I when I say I hurt for the fans, I don't necessarily I'm hurt for the fans, weep, but I sense their frustration. I sense their disgust at times. I sense their knowledge, their passion, their desire to have a team on the ice that maybe doesn't necessarily win every night. I think this is a very smart fan base. I think you can't fool Buffalo fans, whether it's football, hockey, when it comes to work ethic. You can't. They are
Absolutely.
not stupid. You cannot pull the wool over their eyes and say and try to bluff. You can't bluff these fans. And that's just where I'm at. I mean, I guess I just that's where I speak from more now than I have in the past, but definitely more now that, you know, we're kind of free to say whatever we want, I guess.
Yeah. You know, listen, I mean, 3 games ago, I tweeted something out. It was like, they've played how many games this year? 36, I think it is, somewhere around there. 36 games. I've been very quiet. I've kept my comments to myself because I know where the team is at. I know that they have a lot of youth in this lineup. I know they're bringing players, a few players from the minors, giving some opportunity to get the taste, and they're doing it right. Kevin Adams and his group is doing this right. They know that it's not just putting guys into the lineup and we're going to be going from last place to first place. Mm-hmm. It takes time to have these players understand how to play at the highest level and playing in the National Hockey League, the consistency that you need to have each and every game. But I was very frustrated because, like you said, whether you have a team that may not be at the level of the team that you're playing against, that does not mean that you don't have to work. And I said to you, I mean, this is unwatchable. I was very frustrated as a fan watching the game. What I had witnessed was just not acceptable hockey. The fans here in Buffalo are not dumb. They've been patient. Believe me, they've been very, very patient. They're showing right now that they're not happy because there's no one in the stands. There's no one in the stands at the hockey games. Okay. They want to see this team play and get better and show progress. Are they showing progress? In some areas, I think they've been hit with the COVID bug here a little bit. There's been key players out of the lineup. There's been major blockbuster trades at the start of the years. They are navigating their way through a very turbulent season. Okay. But I'm going to tell you this, last game, they beat one of the best teams in the National Hockey League in Nashville. That's surprising to me. Did I think they played their best game? No, I didn't think they played their best game. I don't even think they came close to playing their best game. I think that the Nashville Predators underestimated the Buffalo Sabres. And when you underestimate teams, that's when things bite you in the ass. Okay. I don't think Nashville played their best game at all, but
it's great for the Sabres.
Listen, I mean, Jeff Skinner is he's got a lot of pressure on him. This man got a lot of pressure on him, but I'll tell you right now, he stepped up and he scored some big goals. 2 goals in the game. Scored a big goal. You know, you can see the difference. Kyle Okposo.
What a difference a few real players added back into the lineup can make, isn't it?
What happens when Kyle Okposo actually is given some time to play and not just be on a 4th line penalty kill role, which he's been in for years. He's leading our team right now in points. He's leading the team in points, and he's been out for a couple games. Kyle Okposo is playing some good hockey right now. You can see there is a major difference when you have skill in the lineup. Alex Tuch is not like any other player that we've seen in a long time. 6'4", he skates exceptionally well. He's very talented. He's very smart. His hockey IQ. He just creates turnover after turnover. When you actually start to see more of these players in our lineup, what's going to happen when we get Tage Thompson back and put him into the lineup? What's going to happen when Casey Middlestat, who basically has been out all year, and he arguably should be our top player.
Well, this was his year to get a shot to be.
He had an insane
more integral
ending
role
to this season last year.
Yeah.
He had an insane ending. He was absolutely, without question, the best player. Okay. And this was Casey Middlestat's year to have his coming out party, just like you said. But what happens when you add Casey Middlestat into the lineup? Tage Thompson's been out for a few games now. He's had a fantastic season. He's growing as a player. He's still very young. Once you start to add these players into the lineup and you start to have depth and skill and playmakers and goal scorers, you're going to start to see a different pace. You're going to start to see the puck movement and puck protection, and everything else is going to go to another level.
Well, so yesterday, we're airing this on Saturday, and the Sabres will play Detroit tonight. I mean, it's Friday right now, but they play tonight because this will air on Saturday. But last night, I did not have much optimism for this team going into that game. And then so I tweeted out at 7:54, it was an 8:00 puck drop. And I really meant what I said, because Aaron Dell has taken a ton of shit this year, ton of shit. And I'll say this, Aaron Dell and whoever else was in net, I took a bunch of overs, a little while back, and they were hitting every night because they were in the lineup. And I mean, but I tweeted this out at 7:54, and I meant what I said. I said, I hope Aaron Dell has a huge game and shuts us all up. We deserve it, and so does he. And when I said we deserve it, I meant we deserve to have our socks shoved down our throat by a great performance by him. So he deserves a great performance to shut us all up, because you know how many people just that you talk to casually about hockey and they're like, oh, Dell's in tonight, team's fucked. And you're like, well, you know what?
Listen, I mean, he's not an NHL goaltender. So let's stop.
And okay, fine. But I think
what are you saying?
Pardon?
He's playing on a team that is one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. And he's also not an NHL goaltender. That's not a good recipe at all.
He looked like an NHL goalie last night. And, was the team that much better in front of him? Yeah. I mean, if you go back to our last two episodes, 33, and then the last time we talked about them, and 33 was very critical. We were very critical in the very last episode of After the Whistle when they lost to Tampa Bay. And it wasn't even about, the guys that were out of the lineup with COVID. It was simply just about the lack of passion, or what it looked like to be zero desperation, playing a team like that. So today, obviously going to be a much more positive conversation. I think, I would like to see that effort that we got last night, Thursday night, on a more regular basis, Craig. You know what I mean? And I don't know if they have the.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think the Sabres played a great game in Nashville.
Did you not notice more? I don't want to say physicality, but did you not notice
there wasn't more physicality because they got out hit 45-21. Nashville.
How many hits did they have against Tampa? 12. Remember? They had 12 because I counted them on the air. They had 12. So, I mean, they were maybe they didn't match. Now, granted, that's a home game. And then who knows if the statistician there in Nashville isn't, throwing courtesy hits out there, for little bumps, you know what I mean? That you wouldn't get normally if you're on the road, if you're the visiting team. But I mean, they doubled. You said how many they have? A lot of people noticed. Like you talk about our
one hit. One hit was by John Hayden. This is our forward line. One hit by John Hayden. Two hits by Cody Eakin. One by Dylan Cousins. One by Gergensen. Guys you expect, okay? And two hits by by Alex Tuck. The rest, the entire team, did not have a hit on the forward line.
Well, I didn't look at that's unacceptable. Dahlin had 5.
5 hits. Rasmus Dahlin. our superstar skilled hockey player, had 5 hits. Maybe we should be listening to Don Granato. Maybe we should be sitting there saying, take your heads out of your goddamn asses, because you have literally one of the most skilled young defensemen in the world had 5 hits today.
All right.
How'd Victor Olofsson do?
No, I
Again,
don't.
I'll shit on his parade until like he takes his head out of his ass. I don't care. You know what? I am so tired of having the same guys in the lineup that get the lion's share of ice time, and they don't deserve it. I'm telling you, they don't deserve it.
I said this last show. I said Don Granato doesn't shorten the bench. I mean, as a coach, shouldn't you be playing the guys that are going on a nightly basis, not just the guys that you are hoping will pull through and at the time when you might need them and they haven't been going?
Like, you know what? He did, because, guys like Alex Tuck, who was going last night, played the most minutes in the forward line, 1934. You know who else was going last night? Jeff Skinner. And I'm usually tough on him because I don't like his style of play. But you know what? When he scores goals, he's useful to your team. When he doesn't score goals, then, he's
not as valuable.
He's not as valuable because he doesn't do as the intangibles, the little things. He doesn't do the other things. But I'm going to tell you, when he scores goals, he's a great player to have in your team. And he stepped up last night. Kyle Poso came back. 16 minutes ice time, 2 assists. It's amazing what happens when you have more skilled players on the ice. You seem to have more time in zone with the puck. You're more dangerous. And I mean, I can only think in my mind, I've been frustrated. I think everybody's frustrated. But I just keep thinking to myself, holy jumping, we have Tage Thompson, who's been one of our best players all year. He's out. We have Casey Middlestat, arguably our best offensive player on this team. He's been out all year. How many games he played? 3?
Two or three?
2 or 3. You insert those 2 guys into the lineup and take out 2 guys that shouldn't be in the lineup, your team strengthens immediately. I look at our defense. Our defense is abysmal. It's not a good defense core. It's not a good defense core. I no disrespect to them, and obviously, there's no other way to take it but slap in the face. But you know what? They're not. This is not a deep defense core. It's very, very, very average. But we also have the number 1 best player in the entire universe not playing in the NHL right now, and we own him. The Buffalo Sabres own him, and that's Owen Power. And he's coming very soon. Next year, he'll be here, 1,000%.
Do you think so?
100, guaranteed. Guaranteed. He needed this year. He needed desperately this year. He could have played in the National Hockey League this year without question. Without question. The best move that Kevin Adams and Owen Power made collectively was to allow this young man to take a step back, go and enjoy that college experience, go and play for Michigan, and go not only be a good player on the team, but take major responsibilities leadership-wise. It's not just about being a good player. It's about learning to be a good leader, learning to feel the pressure of being that top guy now. And Owen Power is having a Hobie Baker Award year, and we will be seeing him, his 6'6", 220-pound, 225-pound body here in Buffalo. You know another guy that we don't talk about? What about Matthias Samuelsson? A second-round draft pick 3 years ago. He could be playing in the National Hockey League right now. He could be playing for the Buffalo Sabres right now, but they're choosing not to. And you ask yourself, why? Why is he not on this team? He could help our team right now. Because he's better suited to learn and gain confidence and take the necessary steps before he steps in and takes a role in the National Hockey League. You got a taste last year. So I guarantee you, Mattias Samuelsson does not want to be in Rochester. He does not want to be in the minors. He wants to be here in Buffalo. But he got a taste, and now he's salivating a little bit. Now he wants more, and he's going to work hard, and he's going to be here. That's another player. I mean, the amount of players that we have, like Peyton Krebs looked pretty damn good. He looked pretty damn good when he was playing. He's another player. J.J. Peterka, very young guy, 19 years old. He's super young. Jack Quinn, he was leading the league in the American Hockey League before he got mono. There are some beautiful, bright lights coming. But again, they have to do it right. You can't bring them all in at once. You have to integrate each and every one of them. But all of those young guys, all of those highly skilled players that we're going to be bringing in, the Buffalo Sabres fan base is going to be a very, very happy fan base in short time. But I'm going to tell you this, Kevin Adams cannot drop the ball on going out and getting pieces to the puzzle.
Well, let's talk about those pieces. And by the way, I need to just correct us. Casey Middlestad's played 4 games. But, you talk about not dropping the ball and going out and getting those pieces. Well, I mean, you and I were talking before. We were talking earlier this morning. And I think the Sabres, need to go out. And I know you agree too. We both feel that with these young guys. So you have, let's look at the forwards, right? So you have Quinn, probably in the NHL next year. Krebs in the NHL next year. Peterka possibly in the NHL next year. I could be missing another forward, but I mean, you mentioned Power and Samuelsson. That's a very young group. And I went through all the free agent defensemen this year, and I think Kevin Adams needs to go out and sign and maybe even overpay and bring in a couple veteran, big, physical defensemen. Obviously, goaltending is an area that you might need to address depending on the health of some of your guys and things like that. And, you're probably going to have to get goaltending. But I think defense is the focus this offseason. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, listen, next year's hockey team is going to look completely different. Completely different. You're going to have Casey Middlestad back as a centerman. You'll have Alex Tuck and Jeff Skinner as top-line wingers. Now the question is, who's going to play center? Is it Tage Thompson? Or is it Dylan Cousins? Which one of those guys is going to take the center position? Maybe one of them plays center, maybe one of them plays wing. So now you have a Tage Thompson, let's say, playing center with a Dylan Cousins on right wing. You need to integrate a top end left winger. You have to find it. Is that Victor Olsson?
No.
I don't know, but
no,
they're going to have to. They're going to have to make those decisions. Okay. Then you could have a rookie line, a young rookie line. Peyton Krebs, J.J. Peterka, and Jack Quinn. It's your all rookie line. They're super insanely highly skilled kids that if they don't have the pressure on them, and the top 2 lines have the pressure, the Skinners, the Tucks, the Cousins, the Thompsons, the Middlestads, they're older, they're more mature, they've dealt with a lot more now. Those are the guys that are going to take the pressure. The Peyton Krebs and the Peterkas and the Quinn are allowed to play underneath these players, okay? And do what they do best. And then your fourth line, you need to put together a fourth line that's, I think, a high energy line, a line that goes out and they are fast, they're big, they're highly tenacious on the puck, they're hitting everything in sight.
Just say it. They're tough.
They're super tough,
Like,
super
you need
aggressive, highly
not tough guys, but you need tough players, guys that play hard, guys that, you know, you can throw out against any line and they're going to make them pay. You need that line. You have to have it. Every team has it.
Yes.
You have to have it.
You know, and they've got to be highly, highly engaged players.
Let me run through some names of defensemen here do you want all the names? Do you want all the defensemen UFAs, or do you want names of guys that I think they should go and get?
I would typically want guys that can play the right-hand side. Okay. Because the way I look at it is I shouldn't say the Sabres, as far as I'm concerned, have 4 locks on defense next year. One is Rasmus Dahlin. 2 is Yoki Haru. 3 is Owen Power. And 4 is Mattias Samuelsson. Mattias Samuelsson is a left-handed shot defenseman, 6'5", 230. You have Owen Power, who's 6'6", 220 pounds. He's a left-handed shot. You need to go and find 2 guys, one of them in particular, that's going to play with Owen Power. He needs to be a really solid top 4 right-handed defenseman. And it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you draft picks, and it's going to cost you, prospects.
So you're saying you need to acquire that guy through trade, because that guy's not going.
The only way.
Yeah. Okay.
The only way, because there's not a person out there on the market that is going to sign with the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, let me tell you,
to go out and acquire him through a trade, which I think is the biggest and most important way of doing this.
I'll tell you the first guy that I would sign. You can agree or disagree. He's a right-hand shot defenseman. He's 30 years old. I don't know when he turns 31. And that's Josh Manson.
Boom. Done. 100%.
I mean, I don't care if you have to overpay him $1.5 million more than what he would get on the market just to get him here, because he is exactly what this team needs.
Yes, but you also just need to understand that Josh Manson, he's put miles on that body. He's 6'3". He's 225 pounds. He's a right-handed shot, but he's also had some injuries in the past, few years that kind of have prohibited him from playing his game. But this year he's been healthy. He's played all the games this year. He is a very big, strong. He's pretty mobile. He moves the puck. He understands his game. He understands that he is not out there to be putting up big numbers offensively. He's up there to play a defensive brand of hockey. He is going to be a calming influence on a very young player next year, a 20-year-old Owen Power. I would have him play with either a Rasmus Dahlin or an Owen Power.
I got a better one. I went through all these defensemen earlier, and I can't believe I overlooked this guy. First, I'll give you the one that is a tap-in that I think we both know, Eric Goodbranson. Right-hand shot, 6'4". Well, he's a right defenseman.
So Eric Goodbranson is a guy that I would have. He would be considered your 6th defenseman on your team. He'd be a third pairing guy, and he would be playing on could you imagine Eric Goodbranson? How big is he? 6'4"?
6'5".
Okay. That's
215, 217. Yeah. He was first round pick, 3rd overall, right-hand shot.
And what is his mantra? What does he do? He plays a physical, defensive brand of hockey.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Grand Slam.
He adds insane toughness to the back end. So does Josh Manson.
I'm past Josh Manson. He makes 4.1.
I don't care.
I want Goodbranson.
4.1. We're the lowest salary cap in the league right now. We have more money than any team in the National Hockey League.
Wait till I give you the next guy. I didn't even realize. I overlooked him completely.
These guys are so important to the growth and upbringing of our young players. You need older players like a Gerbranson, like a Josh Manson. These guys are the ones that are going to solidify the youth of our back end. They're defensively responsible. They're very big and they're very aggressive.
How about Robert Bortuzzo?
He's another one. He was a St. Louis and Pittsburgh defenseman. He's 6'4", another one.
220.
Yes, he's another. Is he unrestricted?
He is unrestricted.
I mean, these guys are red lights glowing. We have all of the skill. Yoki Haru is a beautiful skating defenseman. He moves the puck very well. He is not physical at all. Rasmus Dahlin, we all know what he can do. Offensively, he is brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant. And as this team gets better, as this team starts to gel together, Rasmus Dahlin is going to take off like all of the fan base has been waiting for. But he can't do it alone. He needs this team to mature. He needs to allow this team to mature. And once it does, Rasmus Dahlin is going to be an absolute stud. Owen Power, 6'6", 220. He skates better than most of the defensemen in the National Hockey League at 20 years old at 6'6". But you need to put someone with that kid that is going to back him up in every sense of the word. Defensively, just being a calming influence. And that kid should be playing physical. He should be playing nasty. And that defense partner is going to be right behind him every step of the way.
Here's my last one I'm going to give you. He's a lefty, but I don't know that it matters when I give you the name. And his name is Curtis McDermott. Haven't we been horny for that guy for the last couple of years?
Yes, but I mean, with what we have talked about already today, and what I see in our top three left-handed defensemen, okay, you're looking at an Owen Power, Dylan Cousins, or an Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin, and Matthias Samuelsson. You're looking at a 6'3", a 6'6", and a 6'5" defenseman on the left-hand side. You're looking at Henry Jokiharju, who's a good sized kid. He's 6'1". He's very solid. He moves the puck well. But you need two guys that are going to be big, solid, physical.
I got him. Imagine so imagine you could go and insert Eric Goodbranson and Robert Bortuzzo into this lineup right now. It changes the dynamic of not just your defense, but your entire team.
My question is this to you. Josh Manson is a guy that has played in a top 4 position in Anaheim for many years. Eric Goodbranson is not a top 4 defenseman. He's a bottom pair defenseman. He's a 5'6", okay? Bortuzzo's the same thing. He's never been a top 4 defenseman. He never will be a top 4 defenseman. He's a 5'6". Josh Manson has been a top 4 defenseman for a very long time. So when you're looking at all three of those guys, they're all big. They're all physical. They all will stick up for their teammates. They're all defense first type guys. But Josh Manson, to me, is a guy that I think I would put a little bit above the Goodbranson and the Bortuzzo to be in that top 4 defenseman situation. That being said, I'd take any one of those three. Any one of those three. We lack size and we lack aggression. I take nothing away from Mark Pysyk. He's solid. He's been solid. But when I watched last night, when our goaltender gets run, okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. And then all of a sudden there's a big shit show that's happening. And we've got guys that are just kind of like holding guys out and this and that. I mean, that's not happening with Goodbranson. he is going to go. He's going to lose the circuits. All the wires in the brain are going to disconnect, and someone's going to get killed. Okay,
he's way too nice. He's way too he's so nice. He should be a kindergarten teacher. Like. He's a very skilled hockey player. Look, if Mark Pysyk were to hear me say that he would say, "Fuck, Andrew, you know what you were? Yeah, I know what I was in this league, and yeah, he's got way more skill than I do. I understand all that, but when you're getting popped in the face by stiff arm jabs, and all you do is look down at the puck, it's a goddamn red flag."
Okay, but listen,
if I were a visiting coach, if I were a coach. And our next opponent were the Sabres, I would just show them these videos. I would show them Aaron Dell coming out and having the biggest fucking hit of the game, your goalie, and literally no one. Granted, he got the penalty, but still, oh my God! And I don't want to hear. Well, they were up, and remember we were talking last night when that happened. We were on the phone together, and we're sitting there and we're watching Pysyk just getting and his visor's going up and down, and he's fixing his fucking helmet before he's even doing anything. And I'm just kind of oh, it's such a telltale sign of how easy it is to play against this team right now. Last night they played. You say they still didn't impress you. I was really impressed with their game last night. Okay, I was really impressed because it was night and day. The team that we saw against Tampa and whatever the other game we watched the time before that we were ripping on them all over Twitter. But San Jose, but I just mean and that's a guy you'll never change. I mean. I like Mark Pysyk as a person. I've met him, whatever. I mean, he's a nice guy. He's a very skilled hockey player, but he doesn't make your team any better. And when he signed that deal, everyone's like, oh, it's a great signing. The analytics are great on Pysyk. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean the analytics? Our D, you want analytics? Here's analytics. 10 ply. Okay. That's toilet paper and it's really soft. And that's how I would describe our defense core. 10 ply. And so I don't need analytics. I don't need takeaways from the puck and all that shit and breakout passes and his breakout pass percentage per fuck. I mean, fuck off with that shit. I understand analytics. I put some emphasis and stock into it, but my God, the guys that we just mentioned, Bortuzzo, Manson, Goodbranson, even McDermott. Yeah, I don't need analytics on those guys. I know what they are. They're hard to play against. Show me that stat. That's not even showing up in the penalty minute box. I don't care about fights.
You know what's going to happen in years to come? Rasmus Dahlin is going to be on the ice for 25 minutes of the game. You know who's going to be on for the other 25 minutes? Owen Power. You know how much that leaves? At least 10 minutes for the third pair left-handed defenseman. Do you understand? I don't care about the bottom two defensemen per se. I don't care about 5 and 6. But I'm going to tell you, you know what I'm putting in the 5 and 6? I'm putting in
potatoes,
meat and potatoes and gravy. And they are not going to be guys that you want to play against. They're not going to be meatballs. They're not going to be guys that can't play in the league. They're going to be a certain type of player that will help your team succeed. Those two guys in the back end, that 5 and 6 on my team that I would
5, 6, and let's throw number 7 in there too.
Would make Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power, those two guys in the back end, 5 and 6, would be telling Owen Power and Dahlin, you guys do whatever you want to do. Because if anybody chirps you, we are over the boards and we are going to address it right away because you.
And the same goal for forwards 10, 11, and 12, by the way.
Yes. 10, 11, and 12s. If someone even looks at I don't care who it is, Alex Tuch, Jeff Skinner, Casey Middlestat, anybody looks at those guys, anybody starts chirping, over the boards, boys. Let's settle things down. Go and chirp to their best players. They know how to do it. But we got nothing. We have none of that. We do not have an identity on this team. You have to have, I'm going to tell you right now, Jeff Skinner, Casey Middlestat, Alex Tuch, Dylan Cousins, Tage Thompson, Peyton Krebs, Jack Quinn, Paterka. You don't think that we have skill coming?
Yeah.
Holy shit, it's coming, boys. It's going to be very good. It's going to be high end. But let me tell you something. You know what else you need with that? You know what else you need with that? You need guys that play a different style, sandpaper. You need the penalty killers. You need the energy guys. You need guys that are just going to skate through the wall and hit everything in sight. And they're going to go in and they're going to stop in front of the other team's goaltender and they're going to push and shove and they're going to chirp all their way to the bench. That's what you need to. You need to have that. That's part of the puzzle.
Let me throw this last question at you here. Last game against Nashville. You don't sense there's no more optimism in your voice, not obviously about this year in playoffs, but what you saw.
I have an extreme optimism for this team. Like I said before, this team has played 36 games. I've tweeted out my disdain, my displeasure with what I've watched, twice this year? Is that okay?
Yeah, earlier in the year too, but then we laid
earlier
off.
In the year, but I haven't said anything for a while. I said something the other night saying this is absolutely not acceptable. Okay? I'm allowed to say that. I'm a fan watching this game. I played for the Sabres, but I have no ties with them. I'm a fan watching this game. I want to see this team do well. I want to see the growth in this team because I want to watch playoff games. That's what I want to watch because that is the best part of hockey. It's not the regular season. It's not the 82 games. The best is the playoffs. That's when it gets exciting.
I'll end on a little text message I got from a friend today. I would call this person a friend. I don't call many a friend. I would call this person a friend. And the text said, it went a little something like this. Just giving you a heads up. You can throw this on your podcast. He said, fuck, you can even tweet it. I might. By this point, I probably already have. Expect major changes within the Sabres organization between now and the end of the year. That's all I said. You got to give me more than that. And he said, it's all I'm going to give you. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a hiring of a president of hockey ops, a hiring of, I don't know what else another hiring would be. Maybe a potential sale. Trades. I don't know that there's a trade right now that could be a major shakeup. I mean, major change. I mean, so I don't know if you want to dissect. I don't know if the scouting staff is a major change. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't see any reason for them to move on from Don Granato. I mean, I know I've been disappointed some days more recently with the team's preparation against some of the league's better teams, but
I absolutely would not be moving on from Don Granato.
No.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't have any ties to the Sabres, so I can say whatever the hell I want. Don Granato is not the issue. This team is a long ways away. This team is their future is what's going to turn this around. And the future takes time to develop properly. And Kevin Adams and his coaching staff, they understand that they're there. They're trying to give these young men confidence. They're trying to teach them at the same time. They just do not have the skill right now to compete at the highest level. They don't. They need to allow their young players to continue to develop. In a short period of time, things will start to turn around. But this has nothing to do with Don Granato. I don't care. You can bring your number one coach in from anywhere. He is not going to coach this team any better than what Don Granato is doing right now. He knows what he has. He knows that he doesn't have an all-star team. He knows that he's going to have many, many, many headaches, but he is going to try and continue to make these young men better. Try and keep them accountable. And you know what? Over time, hopefully he can start to get some guys healthy, number one. he can start to fill out his roster. Casey Middlestat, top player on the team, is out.
Well, the reality, Craig, is that, and this is the harsh reality, and this is more to the players than it is to anything else. The harsh reality of it is, I think right now what Don Granato is trying to do is just teach and have them learn. And the harsh reality part of that is he really only needs 6 of these players to understand and follow through with what he's teaching, because there's only 5 or 6 guys in this roster right now that are concrete staples going forward. So you can take your Bjorks, you can take your Olofssons, you can take your Haydens, you can take your Gergensen, who probably won't be here in a couple of years, who you thought last night, and I like Zemgus. I'm a big fan of Zemgus, but I think on a really good team, I think he could add a valuable role. I really do.
You know what I said to you last night?
Yeah.
I said to you, I wonder if Zemgus Gergensen will be traded. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a top-end hockey team that is trying to win the Stanley Cup, Zemgus Gergen is exactly what you want. He is
you pick up half his salary and you move him, and maybe you get a second rounder, 2 second rounders for him. I don't know. You're not getting a first, but the fact of the matter is that I think he adds value to a really good team. I think
Zemgus Gergensen will help.
This is the end of his second year, the 2-year deal that he signed, right?
He signed a 3-year deal, Petey.
Was it a 3-year deal he signed?
Yeah. 2.2 a year.
Oh, I thought it was a 2-year deal. Okay. Well, that might be tough to move, but I mean, like I said, if you pick up half his salary, and you can do that because it's only for 1 more year. It'll be this year, the rest of this year, and the next year, and it would only be 1.1 because you can only carry up to 50%. I didn't realize it was a 3-year deal. So, I mean, he's not going to be here. So, I mean, Don Granato really only needs, for the guys that are on the active roster, I think they're doing a great job. I love that Mike Peck is there in the minors. I love Seth Appert. I think they're doing a great job with those guys in Rochester.
Whoa, Mike Weber.
I forgot about. I mean, I didn't forget about Webb, but I was just talking forwards, for fuck's sakes. Would you lay off?
All right.
But I mean, you get my point, right? It's like 6 guys on this Sabres roster that he needs to register with, and then the rest you'll start to just kind of filter in because they're learning at the lower level right now what's going to be expected of them at the higher level. Is that a safe assessment?
Yeah. We were watching the game together last night, and I had said to you, with the current team that is on the ice right now, how many players will be on this team? Not at the end of this year, but at the end of the next year. How many players would be on this team?
Let's go through them. Just give me a yes or no, and then we'll sign off. Jeff Skinner. Well, that's a tough one.
He will be
by default, because you can't move that
by default, but he should not be.
Kyle Oposo. He's got 2 years left. He's got next year. That's it. So he'll be here. Alex, and I think Oposo's fine here. I think he's fine here. I think he's exactly what these young guys need.
Yeah, but you know what? He probably will not be back
next year.
No, next year he'll be back.
Yeah,
but I didn't say after. I didn't say after this year. I said after this year, and then the next year, the 2022-23.
You're right. Well, then we're in agreement on that. So Skinner by default. Oposo no. Tuck yes. Olofsson no. Eakin no. Gergensen's no. Bjork
no.
Hinostroza
no.
Asplund
no.
Cousins.
Yes.
Jankowski.
No.
Hayden.
No.
Okay, so on forward, we said 1 by default, 2, 3. Okay, defense. Dahlin.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
Butcher.
No.
Jokiharju.
Yes.
Hag.
No.
Pesic.
No.
Bryson.
No.
Couple guys on the injured. Tage Thompson.
Yes.
Krebs.
Yes.
That's on the non-roster because of COVID. Injured reserve. Boychuk, no. Middlestad.
Yes.
Kajula.
No.
Okay. Not many is basically what you're saying.
No. The team's going to be reconstructed because, Casey Middlestad a year and a half from now is going to be 25. Tuck's going to be more mature. Tage Thompson's going to be middle-aged. Dylan Cousins now going to be 22. He's going to really start to blossom as a player. You're going to have Krebs, Quinn, Peterka that will all be in the lineup. And then it's like, now you have to round out. I just named 8 players that are in the lineup. Okay. The 8 players: Skinner, Middlestad, Tuck, Cousins, Thompson, Quinn, Krebs, and Peterka. That's 8 guys. But now you need to figure out what are the pieces that need to go to make this team round out. Okay. And you need 4 pieces. You need a 4th line, and you need one other, probably a bigger, faster, more physical presence on left wing.
Nick Ritchie.
No.
Fuck.
But when I say a bigger thing, I think of a Kreider for the Rangers.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a dream.
I'm not asking for a guy that is going to come in and play a Nick Ritchie style. I'm looking for a bigger, thicker, heavier body, a guy that can score goals. You're going to have to pay for him, but I mean, that's the exciting part about we have some first rounders. We're going to be probably sellers at the deadline this year. What can Victor Olofsson get you? Because right now, I don't see a future with him in how he plays the game. That's my opinion. He's super skilled, skates very well, sees the ice well, but he literally does not want to go to any danger areas whatsoever to score goals. He wants to stand on the outside. He wants to stand on the perimeter. Those are not guys that are going to win you hockey games.
So in summary, happy for Dell after my tweet that I mentioned at the start of the show.
Yeah, good for him.
I wrote last night afterward, I quote tweeted my own tweet and said, suck on that, because that was great for him. Tuck's return, pretty good after being off that long. Jeff Skinner, 500th point. Dahlin to the All-Star game. Is that good for his confidence? It's good. I mean, it can't hurt the confidence, although unless he feels like he doesn't really deserve it. But I mean, I don't know why any player would want to go there with that.
When you're looking at, I just look at Rasmus Dahlin. You have to agree with what Don Granato says about this young man. This kid works his butt off. And he makes mistakes, just like everybody else in the NHL. But as a defenseman, when you make a mistake, it's glaring, okay? When a forward makes a mistake, it's being covered up by the defense, okay? When a defenseman makes a mistake, and I'm talking about a guy that's on the ice for minimum 25 minutes every single game, you're going to make mistakes, especially when you're on a team that's not that strong. But I'm going to tell you, the kid sticks with his game. He knows what he does best. He's highly skilled. And you know what? In hopefully short time, this young man is going to be on a much stronger team, a team that's not in their defensive zone as much as they are. They're going to be more in the offensive zone, and this kid's going to absolutely blow it out of the water. So, good on him. I hope that, this is, just another, notch where he's going to kind of climb the ladder. And, I've seen a lot of great things. I've seen some things that I don't like in his game, but you know what? I mean, he's playing on such a bad team that I just don't know if it's just Dahlin or if it's the team that's so bad. And I just got to keep my opinions to myself right now, because he has enough pressure on him right now to try and help this team win games, because he is a huge, huge part of this team moving forward.
Well, that'll wrap on the Sabres discussion. Although I will just add this: speaking a huge part of the team, Bills and Josh Allen, Patriots on the weekend. It's, you know what, this is great. First home game,
nervous?
First home game in for first playoff home game, and I think 25 years. I read maybe more, which is insane to think about him. I mean, what a turnover Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have done with this team. I mean, and you know where it started? Culture in the locker room.
Culture.
What did they do? They got rid of all the dickheads. I mean, they got rid of all of them.
Who was that big defensive lineman that was like the
Marcel Darius, third overall. Marcel Darius,
complete jerk off, and they gassed him. Get his attitude out of the room, and they went and took care of and clean slated all of the riffraff. And you know what? The funny thing is, all the riffraff were the highest end players, all the guys making the most money, and they just cleaned it and they started from scratch.
Didn't bring back EJ Manuel, got rid of Sammy Watkins, got rid of Marcel Darius, and so on. And it just goes to show. I think within like a year or two of Beane and McDermott coming in here, I think they had 2 players left over, maybe 3, and I think 2 of them have already retired. I mean, two or 3 players left over from the roster that they had when they took over. I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, like they had to turn it over, and you know, I obviously, I think that's what Kevin Adams is trying to do here. I mean, you know, they preach culture, they preach all that. So I mean,
I wonder if Kevin Adams has had discussions.
100,000%. Are you kidding me? Like,
okay,
you know, and I think I'm not here to harp on Jack. Jack had a negative attitude toward what was going on here in Buffalo, and you know, they got a really good return. I wouldn't say grand slam return. They got a really with Tuck and Krebs, and then who knows what those other pieces will be. But I think they also alleviated themselves of a weight in the locker room, of a guy that carried a lot of pressure and didn't really know how to handle it. And I think, you know, that conversation had to have been had. I mean, look at the star players the Bills got rid of. They had to have had discussions.
Yeah.
They had to have had discussions. Anyway, great chatting with you.
Yeah, good talk today.
It was a great talk.
Hey, go Bills.
Yeah, the fans deserve it. And I'll say this. I'll say it again. We had this talk with Craig Button. I would love nothing more than to see, and I'm not even going to say, you know, Western New York, because the Bills, you know, mafia, so to speak, I don't use that term often, but the Bills mafia, the Bills fan base is widespread as it is around the world because Buffalo fans travel all over. I haven't felt the pain that they have over the 20 plus years or whatever it's been that they've struggled. Yep. And more recently they've been successful. I want to see them win a Super Bowl. I want to see what happens. I want to see what this city does if and when they win. I cannot imagine what it would be like. We've never seen it. And it's something I would love to see in my lifetime, whether it's the Sabres Cup or the Bills Super Bowl, whichever one comes first. And it looks like it could be a Super Bowl first based on the success of the team. But I love Buffalo fans, and I know you do too, but I love Buffalo fans. I love how passionate they are, and I just couldn't fucking imagine. I could not imagine what downtown would look like if there were a parade or wherever they would do a parade, because I'm willing to bet there'll be 1 million people there. There's not even 1 million people in Buffalo, but I think surrounding area, you go down to Rochester, Syracuse.
I think you'll have people come from all over the country,
world,
for that parade.
But
listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just let's focus on those pesky New England Patriots.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it because it's what I need in my lifetime. I'm saying it because I want to see it for the fans, for the diehard fans. But what were you just about to say?
I have two words. I hope those the coaching staff and those players, they go out and they play, and they have no regrets at the end of the game, regardless of what the score is. Just have no regrets at the end of the game.
So no, those are the two words because you just put about 40 in a row there.
No regrets.
No regrets. Perfect. Perfect way to end. Outstanding after the whistle, episode 34. And if you're listening to the end, just know next week we got a monster. We got a great interview with Bobby Ryan. I'm so excited about it. And we're going to put it out next week. Keep an eye out for it. And this guy was absolutely spectacular. And I loved him before we talked to him, just from what I heard about him and his story. But after we talked to him,
what a story too.
I loved him so much more for how candid and open he was and how comfortable he was talking to us, which I really, really appreciated. Great stuff today, River. Enjoy the day. That's a wrap on another episode of After the Whistle. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, After the Whistle, and at Craig Rivet 52, at the Instigator 76. And you can find us, as you already know, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and anywhere else where you can get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to spread the word.